What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Ryder Cup. I am already on the road. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that right now. I am not at home. I am en route to Bethpage Black when I will be there, if travel goes well, Wednesday through Sunday, maybe Thursday through Sunday if things get a little bit sideways. But looking forward to seeing you guys all out there. Looking forward to taking in Bethpage Black and an American Ryder Cup for the first time for me. So it should be an absolute blast. This event is obviously very unique, especially from a fantasy golf perspective. We have a match play, a cup format on DraftKings this week, which is more about holes that you win, holes that you lose, obviously, then birdies and bogeys. Both members of the same team in the team format earn the same number of points, similar to maybe the Zurich Classic or things that we've seen in the past. But it looks like DraftKings has gone with the captain's play for this week. So you'll pick one captain. He'll cost 1.5 times the salary. You'll earn 1.5 times his points, and then you'll fill out the rest of your roster accordingly. So that adds a bunch of wrinkles into the roster preparation and roster construction portion of this. As of right now, salaries are not out for this, but I wanted to make sure I got this video out. I think, quite honestly, there's a lot more to talk about than just the salaries for this week. And we're going to have the Wednesday live chat anyway to be able to talk about, hey, who you might want to roster in your captain's spot and who you might want to roster in some of those other locations. So we're going to roll forward. We're going to talk about some potential teams and who's likely to play the most matches, because really this is a game of opportunity. You cannot earn points sitting on the bench, and go out there and play as many matches as you can and give yourself a chance to accumulate those fantasy points. With that being said, let's start with the golf course. And I want to show you some kind of screen grabs here from, this is a really good video. It's on YouTube right now. This is from the Ryder Cup. They have gone every hole like we have seen Golf Digest do in the past. It's one of my favorite series, but they've overlaid strokes gained insights on top of this, which is just like, I am the target audience for this. Okay, so this is absolutely perfect. And they have the data that it seems like the data that they're using is from 2019 PGA Championship. That is my guess of what they're doing here, but I think the numbers are really valuable nonetheless. So this is the first hole. This is the infamous first hole. You've probably already seen the angles and the shots on social media that some of the guys, especially Rory McIlroy and Victor Hovland, and might be taking off the first tee. Rory McIlroy might try to just cut this whole thing off and go right at the green. But I wanted to show this because the first hole has, by Bethpage Black standards, a very low missed fairway penalty. If you miss the fairway on number one, it only costs you 1/4 of a stroke. That is the best missed fairway penalty, the lowest missed fairway penalty of any hole out here. You will see that ratchet up as you start getting out to this golf course, where most of the time, if you miss the fairway, you are losing 1/2 a stroke to the field. Now, that's in a full field PGA Championship, but that's the penalty, right? You've got to try to beat your opponent. You've got to try to make birdies, which could be rare. Pars might win holes this week, and playing out of the rough makes that incredibly difficult. Guys are going to have to do it, right? I mean, this is just to back out of this. Bethpage Black is a long, difficult golf course. It's got, I think, one of the longest par fours in the world. I think it's 7 is the number on the golf course. The rough is always juicy. The greens are difficult to hold from angles that you have to come in. There's kind of different, I'll show you one of the par 3s here early in the round here in just a second. Like the way the greens lay and angle themselves into your approach shots makes it difficult to hold some of these greens as well. So it's going to be a difficult golf course. I think bogey avoidance, when we run that model in a little bit, is going to be pretty critical for this week, and just one of the many factors that you're going to have to think about at Bethpage Black. So this right here is the third hole. It's a 230-yard par 3. You can see already 230 yards is a big boy par 3. But what I was referring to earlier about the way that this green lies, actually, let me back you up a little bit here. I don't think I was sharing my screen. the angle of this green relative to the tee box makes for a very narrow landing zone. Incredibly narrow. One of the most difficult greens to hit on the golf course. You're trying to do it from 230 yards out, slightly elevated with all the pressure that's going on at a Ryder Cup. That is going to be a test out of the gate. The big reprieve you get on the front nine is the fourth hole. It's a par 5. It's only 517 yards. It's very short by modern professional golf par 5 standards. And the second shot, everybody's going to go for the green. Like, everybody's going to try to hit it. If you've played this in, like, you remember this golf course a lot from video game golf, right? I mean, just this is that par 5. It's a very elevated second shot. Everybody's going to go for it, and they're basically going to be able to get up and down for birdie. This is a hole you need to take advantage of. There's not going to be a lot of them at Bethpage Black. This is one where you do not want to make a par here if you're playing with your partner. I mean, 2 pars here in 4-ball would be disastrous. This is an opportunity that you have to take. I was talking a little bit about angles earlier, and this is one of my favorite features at Bethpage Black, or really a lot of different courses, is the way that this green on number 14 sits. It's a par 3. It is only 161 yards. That is a very short iron for most of these guys, but you can see the depths of the green based on this. It's almost like a boomerang shaped green. That the far left side, it's 115 feet deep. The middle of it is 72 feet deep. The right side is 43 feet worth of depth, and it's 120 feet across. So, I mean, this, started out, or could have been a square, could have been like 120 by 120, and then they just chopped off half of it, which then allows for a bunch of different pin locations, a bunch of different risk reward shots. If you stick the pin in the back left, that's a lot easier to access. If you stick the pin in the front left or the back right, now you're bringing in a lot more risk reward entities. So to me, this is like a very well-designed hole. I love holes that can do this, who can give you a bunch of different angles, can give you a bunch of different looks, because it might feel like a different hole every single session, despite the fact that it's only 161 yard par 3 that, normally that would just be, I'm just go hit a 9-iron at this and it'll be no problem. These guys are gonna have to do a lot more thinking than that. I could go through every hole. I don't think we need to do that, but let's again talk about the format that's going on here. So 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, 2 sessions, Saturday, 2 sessions, Sunday, singles. 1 session of Sunday singles. So each day, these teams are going to play foursomes and 4-ball. Foursomes also alternate shot. 4-ball, everybody plays their own ball and gets into best score from each team wins. That's what they'll do for 1 session each on Friday, 1 session each on Saturday, and then Sunday singles, 1 guy against another guy, everybody on both teams. There are only 4 matches in each session, so you're not getting every player playing every single session. In fact, there's going to be guys that play 3 times or 4 times, but we're looking for guys that are going to play 5 times, going to play well, that have good pairings and all that. So I'll show you what I've done here. I've loaded in the 2025 Ryder Cup rosters into RickRunGood.com, so you can use all the tools for that. You can see, you can run models on these guys and everything like that. When we talk about guys who are going to play 5 sessions, all 5 sessions, I think there is only one, knock on wood, mortal lock to do this. One absolute, no doubt about it, barring him getting blown out in his first 3 matches and begging for a session off. This man is going to play 5 matches, and it's Rory McIlroy. He's played 5 matches in, I think, all but 1 Ryder Cup in his career. And he is the best player on the European side. He has got all the experience. He is coming off of, obviously, a lot of really good play, winning the Irish Open. He's been overseas for a long time. If you look at his Ryder Cup results, he was awesome at Marco Simone, just leading that team, getting in, now basically running the same exact team back, except Rasmus instead of Nikolai Højgaard. Ton of experience, ton of wins, ton of great play. Rory McIlroy, barring some absolute disaster, is going to play 5 sessions. Now, who does he play with? Because historically, Rory has played with a lot of different guys. If you start looking at the best Ryder Cup players, they have often had a built-in partner. You think of Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas. You think of Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele. You think of, you know, I guess I'm not thinking of anybody else, but like they've often had really strong Molinari and Tommy Fleetwood. Like when they've had their really strong Ryder Cups, they have had a very strong partner. Rory kind of gets moved around. He has played with Shane Lowry. Might he play with Robert McIntyre? That's possible, though. Justin Rose could go that route. Might he play with Rose himself? Yes, that's possible. Might he play with Sepp Straka? Yes, that's possible. Historically, they have moved Rory McIlroy around to a bunch of different partners. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually sticks with one guy or just kind of shuffles through like he has in the past. But either way, Rory McIlroy, I think, is prime candidate to be your captain, prime candidate to be your top European scorer. Certainly going to play 5 sessions, and he's playing great golf. And this is the spot that gets him amped up more than anything. Let's just stick on the European side while we're here. Then we'll go to the American side. Jon Rahm will likely be put next to Tyrrell Hatton early and often. He played 4 times in Rome. I would expect something like that again. I don't think that the Europeans are going to do a lot to change the formula of a really good beatdown in a home Ryder Cup and now returning basically the same exact squad, same exact captain select. Like I don't think they're going to change a whole lot here. Rahm has been a tee to green maven his entire career, but he's not lost strokes from tee to green in any event. This is across all the strokes. I've got the strokes gained for PGA Tour, Live Golf, DP World Tour, all that stuff. He has not lost strokes from tee to green in an event that he did not withdraw due to injury since the Tour Championship of 2023. Okay, so that was 2 years ago. That's how good Jon Rahm is. Very likely gets paired next to Tyrrell Hatton for at least a session. Tommy Fleetwood is probably the safest golfer. Really well-rounded, which goes well at Ryder Cups. A ton of experience. We talked about that, 5-0-0 year with Francesco Molinari. You look at the way that he just won in Atlanta at the Tour Championship. He had a phenomenal year. He is immensely pairable. He is going to be a big factor in this. There's a good chance he plays 5 sessions. So I think when you look at the Ryder Cup team, Rory McIlroy, mortal lock to play 5. The highest likelihood of guys to play 4 or might play 5, Fleetwood, I think, is there. Rahm, I think, is there, and Viktor Hovland would be the other one. Viktor Hovland, alongside Ludwig Åberg, he's an emotional leader. He played great in 2023. He's been playing much better coming into the end of this year than he was coming into the end of last year. The 7th at the BMW Championship, the 12th at the Tour Championship, the 5th at the BMW PGA Championship. He has played well for like 62 holes a week in over the last handful of starts. The sprint style nature of the Ryder Cup, I think, makes Viktor more valuable. He is going to hit a ton of great shots. It's just such a small sample size, right? Even in matches that go the distance, that's 1 round, right? But then what about matches that go the distance where you're only hitting half the shots? Right? Like it's a very, very small sample size. It is a sprint. And I think that rewards someone like Viktor Hovland because he's going to hit like 99th percentile shots. Yeah, he might hit 23rd percentile shots, but they're not as penal as the good ones are able to reward him. The bottom of this European Ryder Cup team, has some concerns to it. I'm very interested to see what they do with Matt Fitzpatrick. Matt Fitzpatrick, to me, is the X factor here. He has played the best golf that we've seen him play in a long time since June. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 top 10 finishes in his last, 9? Well-rounded play. He's not had this is putting it very nicely. He's been horrible in Ryder Cups. He's like 1-7 in Ryder Cup matches. It's not good, but he has the experience. When you start thinking about guys, like, he's playing much better than Sepp Straka is. He's playing much better than Shane Lowry is. Is he playing better than Justin Rose? Well, Rosie has zero consistency. But when he plays well, he's one of the best players in the world. Is he playing better than Robert McIntyre? Like, yeah, he is playing better than Robert McIntyre. So I think that Fitzpatrick will get a little bit overlooked in fantasy circles because of that 1-7 record. I don't think he plays 5 matches. I think it would be I think he probably plays like 3. I think the most likely outcome is he plays 3, and there's an outside chance he plays 4 if he, gets off to a hot start. That's the only problem with Fitzpatrick, because I think he's almost certainly going to play 3 matches. I don't know what his built-in partnership is. I don't know. I just don't know how they're going to deploy him that gets him to 5. I don't think that happens. And 4, he would have to get off to a hot start to end up playing 4. Sepp Straka, also the X factor here. Can 2 guys be the X factor? Probably more excited about Fitzpatrick. Sepp, did not play a lot in the last couple of starts in the States. The metrics fell a little bit. It was not a good playoff run for him. The Tour Championship was absolutely miserable. He finished dead last. If we could just set him back to his baseline, I'd be thrilled to get Sepp Straka into lineups, so I'm not sure there's a lot of evidence for being able to do that. I'm actually going to run a custom model right now. I usually wait till the end of the show to do this, but I think it'll help, especially because we don't have the salaries yet, to help with some of the value stuff. Like, certainly Sepp and Justin Rose and Shane Lowry and Matt Fitzpatrick are going to be on the cheaper side of things. And we know that Rory and Rahm and Victor and Tommy and Ludwig, like, they're going to be on the more expensive side of things. So I want to run a model here. And these guys play against each other all the time, but we do have some live golfers here. We've got some guys that play in DP World Tour events, or at least have recently. So when I do last 50 rounds, which I think is fair, it's a little bit of a reset. We're going to do a weighted strokes gained for 30. And then what we're going to do is this. We need bogey avoiders. So we're going to do 20 on bogey avoidance. We also are going to want guys that can drive it a little bit accurate and a little less with distance. So 10 on distance, 15 on accuracy. Then we are going to do strokes gained approach for last 36 for 15. And then we are going to do maybe like scrambling for the last 10. That will include putting. Scrambling includes putting too. I know people are saying, but Rick, first in wins. Why aren't you doing any putting? Yeah, I don't want to build lineups around putters. I will break ties with putters. Like, I think it's great for Ben Griffin and great for Russell Henley and great for JJ Spaun, who we'll talk about. But I don't necessarily want to build lineups around that. So here we go. I mean, our first 3 golfers, not a huge surprise, I don't think. Scotty Scheffler is 1, Jon Rahm is 2, Tommy Fleetwood is 3. I guess that is pretty much a surprise. Rory McIlroy is 11th. That is the problem for Rory, is he's a bogey maker, right? We've seen him do that. He's very inaccurate with the driver, but he's long, and I gave a lot of credence to the accuracy of things. So just looking for guys that we know are going to be cheaper on the European side. Matt Fitzpatrick is 6th on this run of models. What else do we have here? We've got Shane Lowry 16th. I mean, this is not a good model for some of these guys. Rose, Højgaard, Straka, 24th, 23rd, 22nd. That's not good. McIntyre 19th. Yeah, I the more that I'll run these things, Fitzpatrick, I'm okay with the risk of Rosie, because when he plays well, he's the best player in the world. But that's the rest of those guys at the bottom are a little bit concerning. I'm dying to see what they do with Rasmus Højgaard, right? I mean, I'm so high on him. He's freaking awesome. The game is so sick. But I don't know what they're going to do with him in his first Ryder Cup. The American squad. I do not think it's a lock that Scotty Scheffler plays 5 sessions. I think it is likely. He only played 4 in Rome. Now, that did not go well in Rome for all the Americans, and I think they were throwing things at the wall. I do not think it's a lock that Scotty plays 5. I think it's very likely that he plays 5. And he is going to be a menace. He is probably going to be the golfer most captained, if I had to guess. He's going to be the most owned golfer on this slate, and he should be. I think that if you start building lineups with Scotty as your captain, where can you get different? Is it taking a risk on Justin Rose? Is it trying to find who Scotty's partner is going to be and getting the cheaper one of that, whether it's Russell Henley or maybe even JJ Spaun, which I think is very likely as well. Remember, you don't have to make these lineups until we know who the first group going out is, the first groups, right? So they will announce, they'll do the draw on Thursday night for the first session. So you'll know in the first session who's going out. I think over the years, it has not become as important to make sure that all of your golfers are in that first session out. I still, in my heart, want that, but the data has shown, a lot of the differences is, getting the guy that plays, who goes 3-0-0, who's like 4% owned is a way, and very cheap because, you can fit him into lineups with one of the big boys, is kind of the path to getting to the top of these contests oftentimes. So we can see which cheap guy, especially for the Europeans, is going out on Friday morning and give us access to Scotty Scheffler. The pairings with Scotty Scheffler, you would expect Russell Henley to be in the mix. They played together at the President's Cup, and they played very well. Russell Henley's a great player. Everybody wants to play with Russell. I think there is a chance we get JJ Spaun here. Remember, all these guys, or at least 10 of them, played the Pro Tour together. And they literally played in the same groups. And I do not think it was just random in how those guys played together. When you started looking at the groups that they were in, it was like, this kind of makes a lot of sense. So the 3-ball was Scotty Scheffler, Russell Henley, JJ Spaun. And even without the connection to Scotty Scheffler, I think JJ Spaun is my favorite, all things considered, without knowing his salary yet, but I'm sure he's going to be cheaper than Scotty, and probably cheaper than Xander, and probably cheaper than Bryson, and who knows who else. I think you're going to get a good deal on JJ Spaun here. I think JJ Spawn's my favorite player here. He has shown routinely this year he's a big-time player. Won a major championship at a golf course that was probably too long and penal for him, and he comes out on top. He lost in a playoff to Rory McIlroy at the Players. He lost in a playoff to Justin Rose in Memphis. He played great at the Pro Tour. He hits every single fairway, which all of his partners are going to want. He is a great putter, which first in wins a lot in match play. I think that he is. I think guys are going to love to play with JJ, and he's my favorite. He's my favorite. That's the way that I'm looking at this. All things considered. Who is going to play with Bryson? Bryson has been teasing this, I'm going to create my own golf ball and all that stuff. Remember, foursomes, they've got to hit each other's golf ball. I'm really interested to see what they do here. I don't know what they're going to do. My hunch is that Bryson is going to be the emotional leader of this team. It's not going to really be Justin Thomas in one way, maybe for the guys in the clubhouse, and then Bryson with the fans. And Bryson's value comes both on and off the golf course, because when he's not playing in these sessions, you will see Bryson. I can guarantee this right now. He will be in the front row in the Coliseum or whatever it's called on the first tee, hyping up the crowd with the crowd. He will be there. I guarantee it. So he's kind of a positive player, whether you play him or not, and you can keep him fresh and all that stuff. I don't know who they're going to pair him with. He probably plays 3 times, maybe plays 4 times. Unless he's super hot, I don't know what they're going to do with Bryson. They might put him with Collin Morikawa, quite honestly, but I don't know about that. There are some question marks here. You know, Justin Thomas is not having a great year. Collin Morikawa is not having a great year. For the first time, maybe ever, there are concerns around the team that is Patrick Cantlay and Schauffele, who have been amazing in all types of team formats. But Xander had a very good year. It's one of the worst years of his career, but that's because he's a very good player. Patrick Cantlay had a good, not great year. Started to play a little bit better, especially in Atlanta and down the stretch. Xander's got a new baby. Congratulations. Did not play the Pro Tour. Who knows what the distraction and level of fatigue might be. I just think for the first time that I can remember in my golf watching era with these guys being pros, I'm not as excited about the Cantlay Xander group as I was in the past. I think there's just a lot more questions than there's ever been, and they're not necessarily locks to play all of these sessions, I don't think. I just really don't think they are, especially when you've got JJ Spaun. You've got Sam Burns, who's been good. You've got Harris English, who's sneaky, very popular amongst a lot of his peers. Collin Morikawa could steal. I mean, Collin Morikawa and DJ played together at Whistling Straits and were 5-0-0. I mean, Collin has done really good things at Ryder Cups in the past. I mean, not that Xander and Patrick haven't, obviously, but I just think there's more question marks than anything, which leaves us with two debutantes, right? Did Cam Young play in the Ryder Cup? Cam Young might have played in the Ryder Cup in his rookie year. Cam Young and Ben Griffin. X factor. Ben Griffin, depending on who he ends up getting paired with, is ready for the ball. Just give this guy the ball. Great putter, drives it long, played great golf all year long. It's how he got on this team. Played great golf in Napa with everybody in the field. He's going to be awesome. Cam Young sets up maybe better than anybody for Bethpage Black. Hit it long, hit it straight, extract yourself from the rough when you're in there, have a very good short game compared to how far you hit it is very good. He's got 5 straight top 11 finishes with a win at the Wyndham. Played great before that. Course fit wise, maybe besides Scotty, but Scotty fits every golf course on planet Earth. Cam Young might be the best course fit for the United States. I don't think that that's an exaggeration. So circling Cam Young's name, I'll favorite him on the site. Circling Ben Griffin's name, favoriting him. JJ Spaun, like these are my 3 favorites, and then all you can eat on Scotty, all the rosters that you can fit him in there. And then on the European side, Rory, for sure. I'm a little bit worried about how many bogeys he makes, but it's fine. Rory, Victor, Tommy, a little risk on Justin Rose. I'd be interested to see what Hatton's ownership ends up being. We might have a decent idea of this more on Wednesday during the live chat, where I guess maybe we could do live chat on Thursday. Couldn't we? And wait for the first pairing to come out? We usually do it the day before. I guess we could do it on Thursday. Stay tuned for that. I might have to figure that scheduling portion out. Maybe we'll just do it on Thursday night instead of Wednesday night. Hatton gets the Rahm boost, and also I think is going to be really good by himself. So maybe he's my sneaky favorite if he comes out and he's not priced overly expensive. There's a lot of what ifs. This is a game of iterations. I will tell you, it happened 6 months ago, but I've bet the Europeans, and I'm fine with that. I feel very good about that. I will likely be, this is such a like in the moment thing. Matchups every single day, the groups every single day. That is probably a better way to enjoy the Ryder Cup than making fantasy lineups. But there is a lot of game theory and forward thinking in the fantasy lineups as well. But there's also a lot of guessing, and that's okay. We're going to do some educated guessing, and we're going to try to figure out what happens. But once the tournament starts, you're locked in, unlike some of these other formats that I think are fun and interesting. So either way, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to getting out and see the course. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. Half of you are not. Shame on you. Make sure you're subscribed, and best of luck. I'll talk to you guys very soon.